Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I'm Rishabh Gulati. For 4.5 months, we've been sitting and having conversations here as part of a dedicated primetime series, now well over 80 episodes, 80 hours of primetime programming on giving Indian entrepreneurs, wealth creators, a chance to connect with us, explain to us what the issues are, how we can work together to solve them, and more importantly, introduce them, many of them, to a larger audience so we start feeling proud about what we are and what we can achieve. In the moment of what is now going on, there merits an examination of one of the important industries of this country to which we are all party, the media industry. I'm sure all of you have been tracking the very, very voracious debates that are now going on publicly after what happened in Mumbai yesterday. The question we have to ask and answer ourselves is, what is the part about the media industry that requires value introspection? That's a completely separate conversation. Who chooses to do what and say what in what way is a separate conversation. But how the industry runs in terms of a commercial agency, in terms of a private agency, in terms of a business, and the way it interacts with market forces, with political forces, and with advertisers and other corporate houses that of course sustain it, requires and perhaps a merit of a conversation. It's long been a joke in this country that everything is TRP seeking. Many things are, many things aren't, but perhaps an open public conversation and a cogent one, rather than one on one-upmanship, brinkmanship, he is better, holier than thou, she is worse. Let's try to have a cogent one. So as part of our Business World series today that we do in association with Anurag ji and his team, let's have this conversation. Joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Sandeep Goyal. He is chairman of Moge Media. Mr. Chintamani Rao, strategic marketing and media advisor. Mr. Rajiv Singh, ex-CEO of Zee Media and ex-board member of the News Broadcasters Association is with us. We have Ms. Noor Fatima Varsia, group editorial director of the Business World. Mr. Naval Ahuja, co-founder and director of Exchange for Media. And as always, Dr. Anurag Batra, chairman and editor-chief of Business World. Anurag ji, we were exchanging a few emails on what to discuss. So why don't you set this up for us? What actually merits an important public conversation and what is just hoopla?
Today I would want your involvement more than ever because you also represent an important stakeholder being the editorial leader of NewsX and the NewsX network. Today we are discussing the advertising economy, the media economy. We're discussing the role of how media agencies, how advertisers can actually change the course of media companies if they only support news mediums, whether television networks or digital, that are responsible, that are balanced, that have good editorial content, and more importantly, they do not fan hate speech. So we have to go beyond TRPs. Should brands, media agencies only look at TRPs, or shall there be a new trust barometer? To discuss that, we have people who understand this very deeply. Let me start with Mr. Sandeep Goyal. Mr. Goyal, you're in a unique position. You were the CEO of a large broadcasting company for many years. You were in advertising, you built a large media agency. So tell us, and you're a voracious writer, so tell us, what do the clients need to do? Are we damaging the credibility of the impact from where it is? And most importantly, I want to focus on the positive. Would this be the turning point where clients say, we look at them, but we look at all the content, we look at talents, we look at contribution to society, and we look at positive impact and not just negative impact. So, Deepal.
Thank you, Dr. Batra. Though I know it's a serious situation, but I look at it with a little bit of amusement because, these TRP controversies keep coming back, I think, in a few years cycles. Now, my mind goes back to the year 2002. Now, to a lot of people, that would be history. But actually, exactly in October of 2002, we had a TRP, issue which was perhaps much bigger. In those days, of course, there was no BARC, and we had TAM and we had INTAM, two measuring agencies which would look at television measurement. And I was running Z at that time, and we were accused by all because the list of the entire 3,600 odd meters that used to be in existence in those days was circulated to the entire industry. And then for the next 2 or 3 months, there were no ratings, and there was a big fight between TAM and INTAM on one side, the IBF on one side, the ISA on one side, and the 3As of I on the other. But going back to the question that you asked, nothing much finally came of it. The meters got reinstalled, the meters just got sort of moved around, and the guys who were crooking them in the first place, in the first location, now figured out which the new locations were. So I think this business of crooking the TRPs is about as old as the television business. In some shape or form, it continues to happen irrespective of how much of security you built into these systems. So to that extent, I just find the entire exercise quite amusing. There will be a lot of din and noise for the next few days, and post that I think we will go back to business as usual, figuring out where the meters are, fixing the meters. It's an industry in itself.
Mr. Goyal, what can be done? You're right that TRP controversies are not new. In my 20 years of covering the media, I can say this is the third time where there's been a serious controversy. Minor controversies, I think every year we are at 1 or 2. But tell me, is there a way out of it? And most importantly, I want to ask you this question, and I want to ask Mr. Rao this question. Should rating agency officials, professionals, whether it's BARC or HANSA, should they not be barred from being consultants to media companies? Because they know where the meters are. Secondly, should we bring in digital? What can be the positive impact?
Anurag, let me answer the question at one first simple level. What can be done and what should be done is a later question. Actually, data sources, when you make one data source the currency of the business, you are exposing it to as much of incentive as you can to sort of cheat the system. Now, only yesterday, after this news kind of broke out, and for many years I was also working with some of these large telecom operators and the large DTH operators to monetize their inventories. Now, the feedback that we get from their boxes is completely unalienable, cannot be fixed, because it is coming directly from the DTH box that is sitting inside your house. And it is coming without any manual interventions, and there are no external, meters that have been attached to it. So, I mean, the data that you can get from many more sources is available. In the past also, I've had these discussions with the previous, guy who was running BARC and so on and so forth. They, of course, scoff at the system and would insist on doing things that they are doing. And then once in a while, an accident like this happens, and therefore that cannot really be fixed unless you are, kind of committed to the fact that there cannot be a single source of data, because that single source of data is your biggest invitation to corruption.
You're saying we should have multiple sources of data?
There have to be multiple sources, so that, when it is coming from so many sources, you cannot fix all the sources. If it's coming from one source, fixing it is so much easier. Later in this discussion, when you had the other speakers speak, I will tell you a far more interesting story from the past, from no other perspective, but just to share with you that there are simple and ingenious ways in which the meters can really be fixed. So I mean, whoever wants to do it can actually do it. Now, who is doing it, not doing it is neither my problem, nor am I really bothered by it. But fact of the matter is that at the time when we were impacted, I mean, crores and crores and crores of business is impacted by the fact that the TRPs have gone up or gone down. I mean, you could be running the best of a program and it doesn't show up on the TRPs and the program is dead.
Yeah.
And there are certain producers who have been known in the past to have programs that just continue to do well irrespective of whatever they churn out. So I mean, it's not a new problem.
Okay, Dr. Batra, I'm just going to put in a two-bit, very personal interjection. As you go to the other speakers, from the editorial side, and for people watching this broadcast, it'll be very important. This is a live public broadcast on the very same mediums on which ratings are offered. On how much do these ratings actually help people like me who sit on editorial? We're doing this for 12 years, monitoring ratings every Thursday for so long. And I can tell you what little help to no help they are often on editorial. You can do a broadcast with the same individuals, same people, same story one evening, and it will have a 90%. Next day it will be 0. So if you think that a lot of the editorial calls can be segmented as a professional, which is what I would expect, that okay, this kind of story is doing better in Karnataka, or this kind of coverage, or this kind of show does better in Tamil Nadu, or in Delhi, or in UP, that if this is supposed to help with that, I don't know how much help it has been. To me personally, very little. That is my small interjection as you continue, Anurag.
And Rishabh, it's a very valid point. You know, the ratings should be an insight into what's working, what's not working. Unfortunately, it's just become a currency to get advertising without understanding what is the content being consumed. And there are questions around it, as Sandeep just said. Mr. Rao, again, you know, you're very, very vocal about what should be changed in the system. Tell us what can be changed in the system to be able to be getting back credibility and making sure that the advertiser's money is not being wasted or the advertiser is not being misled. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, right, okay. Anurag, if I had a straightforward answer to that question, I'd make a lot of money off it. Okay, it's not as easy as, it's not so easy. Let me just go back a bit though, and join Sandeep when he says, what he said, when he began. I have to say I am amused and bemused that everybody is so shocked about this. My God, there's actually sampling. Oh my God, what's going on in this country? The Mumbai police chief is aghast and the whole country is, you know, shocked, completely shocked that such things happen. Wow, where do they live? La La Land, what were they expecting? I mean, is this the first time you've heard of corruption? Please, let's not pretend such things don't exist. I served in the Time Transparency Panel. That was before BARC came into being. Okay? And I've dealt with these issues. I've dealt with issues with channels. And some of the channels that we hauled up, and we were channels belonging to some major broadcasting networks. I'm not saying they were doing this at a network level. I don't care. The channels belonging to major broadcasters were in fact bribing data. And while on that, let me just make one little quick aside. People keep talking about buying PRGs, that people are buying PRGs. No, they're not buying PRGs, they're stealing PRGs. There's a big difference. If I come into your store and say, give me this, and you charge me for it, I'm buying it from you. If I send someone to your store to pinch it and walk out, I'm stealing it. Okay, so please let us not blame the rating agency. Let us not say BARC is responsible, Sam was responsible. No, they were not. I'm sorry, please just not mix it up. As Sandeep again rightly said, when there is a single data source on which the entire ecosystem depends, it's an incentive to cheat. It's not the first time it's happening, so the last time it will happen.
So Chinta, what can be the course correction? And secondly,
Anurag, I tell you what, I'm afraid it's not going to be very popular, what I'm going to say. But some years ago at a seminar in Delhi, Dr. David Levy of Reuters Institute for Journalism said the success of self-regulation depends primarily on culture. Okay, the audience were quite sort of taken aback because we keep complaining about self-regulation doesn't work. It works in lots of places in the world. It works in lots of places in the world. It doesn't work in India because we can't make it work. We are culturally, genetically, I don't know in what way, incapable of self-regulation. It will need, what it needs is the stakeholders, which is broadcasters and the advertisers, very importantly, supported by the media agencies, to sit at the table with an open, constructive attitude, with the desire to fix it. Everybody is out scoring points, everybody is out trying to outdo the other. And who's after the panel time, not advertisers, surely. Not the agency, surely. Not distributors, so in the entire ecosystem, there's only one constituent who's interested in panel time. Who is that? Broadcasters. So it has to be for the broadcasters first to take a stand and fix their own members. Don't tell me they don't know what's happening. Any broadcasters today who are shocked at what's going on are either pretending or hiding somewhere with their head in the sand all the time.
Okay, so you made a point, and we'll come back to you on how advertisers should view ratings. They should move from trust, from TRPs to trust, to balance, to respect, to positive impact. Let me bring in Sanyukta. Sanyukta, you heard Sandeep, you heard Chinta. What is your view on how advertisers, media agencies can look at other aspects beyond ratings?
Yeah. Hi, Anurag. I think I've been listening to what all the industry experts have been talking about, and people have actually been very instrumental in founding all of these rating systems. So I'm just going to say, purely as a marketer, for me, the only sentiment when you hear news like this is that right now, especially with the pandemic and what is going on in the world around us, the marketing function itself has become more and more skewed towards ROI, generating business. It's less to do with brand awareness and brand building, more to do with how can you kind of help your brand get back on its feet. In a scenario like that, your budgets are very, very, like, you have to be extremely entrepreneurial and judicious with our spends. And I think that's true for any industry in the marketing world right now. TV has always played a very critical part in all of our budgets and spends. So I think the biggest takeaway for all of us would be that I'm hoping that, this is not really true, and it can actually be sorted, because you'd rather than put your money on things that you know for a fact will actually generate better business for you. There is absolutely no shadow of doubt on the other sources of, because digital etc. lends itself to a far more measurable output in that sense. And I think Mr. Rao was also mentioning the fact that you need to get a little deeper than merely looking at it as a mere number, which is a fallacy that all of us kind of fall for. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me as a marketer, in terms of it directly impacts the way I'm relooking at all of my budgets, and I'm sure that's true for any marketer out there. Right?
Thank you, Sangeeta, for being so candid and being so real. Let me bring in Naval into the conversation. Now, Naval, you're right. As Sandeep said, next few weeks we'll talk about it, and then we'll go back to the same thing. And I talk of the industry. I'm not talking about myself, yourself, Chinta, Sanyukta. So tell us, what can be the solutions? Is there a solution? Shall we be 100% digital? Manual intervention should be closed? How do we bring other qualitative aspects? So give us a solution, Naval. You'll have to unmute yourself, Naval. You'll have to unmute yourself.
So as Chinta said, if I had a solution, I would be very rich by now. But jokes apart, I would say the issue revolves around 4 pillars. First, look at why this obsession for TRPs. Even the IMD minister 3 days back commented about news television continuously, and not just news television, all of television going after TRPs, and rightly so. I am not here to defend anybody, but there is rationale to it. The rationale being that India is a market which is extremely under-leveraged when it comes to consumers paying for content. Whether it is, a news television content, print content. Now we are seeing that in digital media as well, where consumers are extremely low today. Hence, every television company has to then go to advertising, their basic revenue needs. And for which TRPs is most important. Now, one can sit here and argue whether advertisers are looking at the prism from the right angle, whether TRP is the only right criteria to look at. But unfortunately, that's the reality. If somebody has to be, taught or given a lesson in, how to buy news television, perhaps some bit of advice is due to be given to advertisers to, look at this as a kind of TRP is only one of your core inputs when you're buying television news media. So that's one part of the equation. The other part is also something that Sandeep mentioned very rightly. Today you have so much metrics available. Not just BARC is of course an industry recognized body. BARC, is set up by the key stakeholders in the system, broadcasters, the advertisers. The other part of the equation is digital media has significantly come up. Viewership of news television on digital media is very high. So I think advertisers look at the mix of what is happening across the board. If that started happening and those tools are available, we are not talking about those tools coming online a few years down the line. Some of those tools are available. Today, look at the viewership of news television on YouTube. It is significant. Look at how data for viewership of news channels is captured through some other metrics also. Understood that it is not industry accepted currently yet, but for advertisers who are investing serious money into news television, those are very important data points to look at, and that reduces dependence on TRPs. Third, as we've seen, the co-ops are doing their jobs, but unfortunately, as we've seen in the past, as Sandeep rightly mentioned this, I still recall Sandeep mentioned it briefly. CNBC had leaked a list of all TAM people meters at that time. It was a very long list of all houses. Chintamani Rao would also remember that incident. So this is a recurring problem. We saw 2-3 months back some of the same broadcasters going to BARC as well as the INP ministry complaining about some other channels. So it's a recurring problem. As long as the incentive is there to game the system, you will not be able to stop it. So I think the larger issue, how it can be handled here is for IBF, AAAs of I and perhaps ISA to sit together and say, okay, when we are buying news television, the currency should be a little bit broad-based rather than just depending upon TRPs.
Thank you. Now we'll come back to that. Let me bring in Mr. Rajiv Singh. Rajiv, you worked in newspapers, you worked in digital, and you were the CEO of a large media enterprise in the news space. Tell us what can be the solution and where do you see the industry going vis-a-vis news spends over the next 12 to 18 months?
So thanks, Anurag, and thanks. I have heard everybody. To add my wee bit, I personally feel that accountability needs to be fixed as it has been fixed in every specific conventional media. And to that extent, and that's the reason why media has survived, and that's how advertising has grown in this industry and has given an uplift to the economy. But when you really look at the television industry, and it's really very surprising, and in an industry where almost about 70 billion INR is invested, it is surprising that it relies only on people meters and only 40,000 odd households, which are largely seen as a sample size for BARC ratings. And this is representing 197 million households. I mean, is it really relevant from a point of view that when you look at India, which is defined as a continent, you don't even have state-wise breakup of sample size households available anymore. In fact, I have been given to understand that they have been removed altogether. Now, this definitely creates a rampant specific scope where doctored ratings and largely influence ratings through certain people who are gullible to come in and influence. And this has been happening since time immemorial. So what has happened now is nothing that we need to get surprised of, as what Sandeep and Chintamani and what Naval have already spoken. But it is for the industry to know that when it really comes to understanding the people's sentiments in terms of what we want and how we watch, we all know content drives eyeballs. And there have been some superlative contents that have been aired time and again and have not necessarily been able to really connect with their audiences. And on the contrary, something as ephemeral as just a normal sensationalized story gets you the kind of ratings on which sits the TRPs and GRPs of a particular channel.
Now we're not sure that a sensational story gets you ratings. It could be other factors that have come into play. So the question is about news. See, news is not just another product. News has impact on society. It shapes conversation. So news
Absolutely.
content has to be more responsible. We have to get back our credibility. I mean, news has become drama. It has become cacophony. It has
Absolutely.
become a circus, if I may say. News has to be more nuanced, more balanced, and has to have a more positive impact. Let me bring in Noor. Noor, the advertiser is kind of at the head of the table. They can change. Media agencies who are gatekeepers to advertising money must be thinking, what can they do now to look at layers beyond ratings? Give us a sense of what do you think media agency CEOs and professionals are thinking, and what are clients thinking? What's your view, Noor?
Thank you, Dr. Vata. I have to say that I'm going to bring this whole thing back to your first point, which was about going beyond ratings, and in this day and age, when there is a very clear discomfort and disdain towards hate speech. And we have already seen internationally, even in India, on some of the largest platforms which were not advocates but platforms of hate speech, and global boycott of advertising revenue had taken place. Now, Mr. Singh made a point about the current set of ratings. Mr. Ahuja made a point about, you can't help it. This is what it is right now. It's the reality, and ROI, as Samyukta mentioned, is what everybody is looking at. Media agencies, unfortunately, have been blamed time and again for pushing down or for using ratings for buying instead of planning. The reason why we ever had metrics was so that people could plan, and it is really unfortunate that Rishabh and his team were not able to utilize ratings much in the last 12 or so years, but that was the role was planning. Right now, media agencies will, because of this immunity towards controversies that Mr. Rao and Sandeep sir spoke about, I'm not guessing media agencies are going to get really excited right now on what's going on with this current.
And to be honest, lots of media agencies are very shy about speaking honestly about anything, because they don't want to upset anyone. I mean, I tried to get some big ones on my show, and they want to be non-controversial. So rightly, they don't want to take sides, even if they feel strongly off the record about something, about content, but they don't want to say it on a camera, and I respect that. All I'm asking is, do you think media agencies will go beyond TRPs? Do you see that shift happening?
No, sir, not with the exception of that hate speech component, because there is a precedent to that. With the exception of that, they will not, because their game is about ROI. They are responsible for the monies of the people. So there is no way that they can let this TRP metric go away. I think it's 10 years since we have argued that news channels should be exempt from this kind of weekly.
The IT minister and TRAI, there was a TRAI paper recently which talked about how the news industry should look at it. We don't want the government to regulate us. There have been these discussions about suspending ratings. We should suspend examinations also of children, because that puts too much pressure on the children. Suspending something is not the solution. Chinta, you want to make a point?
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of points actually. One was this whole business of sample size that has been touched upon. Okay, it's very simple. There's to my mind, not a single research agency in the whole world, and that's what BARC is, that's what TRAM was, a research agency, that's what it is. There's a certain kind of research, it's a research agency. I don't believe there's been another research agency in the whole world which would not be happy to increase the sample size. The only problem is someone could pay for it.
Absolutely.
I can mandate, 20,000, make it 50,000, and then make it 100,000, and give deadlines for making it. Will TRAI fund it? Will advertisers fund it? Who will fund it? Such agency won't. So let's not talk about sample size unless we have funding available. Until such time as there's funding available for it, they will. Number one. Number two, I have a question about the role of advertisers. Please remember that the entire broadcasting ecosystem is fueled by just one thing: advertisers' money. Why do advertisers accept this nonsense? And what nonsense, let me tell you. talk about media agencies are not doing proper analysis. Why do advertisers accept it? Why don't they ask sharp questions? Certainly, I had clients who asked such questions, such sharp questions. They grilled us. We were grateful to them because they made us better professionals. They used to grill us, I mean, almost, I would say, mercilessly. And we came out of it smarter at the end of it all. Okay? Now, why do advertisers accept this nonsense? Why aren't they asking the right questions? I mean, you remember the time that when we moved from TAN to BARC, there was a period of blackout. Okay? You bought IPL on the basis of last year you bought IPL on the basis of TAM data. Now you're buying it again. You're buying it evaluating on the basis of last year's data. By that time, BARC had only household level data. So you bought on individual level data, analyzing household level BARC data, or not analyzing at all, doing no post-buy analysis. Advertisers were quite happy to suspend the ratings. It was their money. Why were they not asking the right questions? Why were they accepting the suspension of ratings? I don't understand what advertisers are up to.
We are trying to do a difficult conversation for many people because it's very close to home. But that doesn't mean we should shy away often from having it. And I agree with that premise. So hence we are, and we've been having this conversation for the past 30 minutes. There are some reality checks also that equally apply to people who are both in this conversation and those of you who are watching at home. This TV news business, the one we work in, the English language, you're talking about ratings that qualify for maybe 1% or less of the chunk divided up amongst everyone else. So you're talking about 0.1%, 0.12% in the English language space very often. It's very difficult. Where does the revenue come from when traditional advertising mediums are dying? Where do you earn if you don't want to sell your soul and run fake news and pick a side? How do you even do content that is not tamasha anymore? It's a very difficult conversation, and people like me, of course, have to have it every day. How do you not get sucked into doing one-upmanship? How do you not get sucked into having wars between media houses? They happen too. They are really real things, and of course, people on this conversation have been in the industry one way or the other for much longer time than I have. So, Anurag, I'll hand back to you to carry on the conversation.
I want to ask you a question. The network, the English News Network, and tell us when the story yesterday broke, and we'll not get into the merits of the story, but you think, is there a kind of, we can find a way from here, we can find a solution, maybe if this is the tipping point or inflection point where we'll rethink, our viewers will rethink, and we can actually use this negative impetus to be a positive impetus to maybe grow English viewership, to get the trust back into balanced news. Do you think that happening? Do you see that happening, Richard?
Look, I'll tell you my very personal opinion, and I think the first time I'm having this conversation in an open platform, let alone my own platform here. What's the view that we take, right? The view we take in having these conversations, daily conversations. Edit meetings are daily things that start at 9 in the morning and go on till midnight. Do we do the stuff that we really think that we should be doing, right? Editors these days, and I think all employees in all sorts of companies, in every point, everybody has to worry about things like revenue and how you're doing, right? You can't say it's not my problem. But that was not the job. There was a core job, which was to ensure that you did editorial. There was supposed to be a division between editorial and marketing. They're not easy things to do. So the way I look at it, Anurag Batra, is that in the channel that we are running, and we are very grateful that we are given the freedom to run it the way we are. And for people who are watching this broadcast, who watch NewsX regularly, both in style and substance and the conversations that we have, we are trying to stand apart. So the editorial team here, the marketing team, everybody, we are trying to do the content that we think should be done in that way. And trying to sustain ourselves and pay our salaries in difficult times amidst all of that. It's not easy, but we are sticking to what we are doing. And there is a larger question that needs to ask, which is what you're asking me, that does this bring upon fundamental change and does it give enthusiasm? That it's a topic of conversation, yes, it should be. But can we live on that hope? Maybe not. Do we stick to our guns? Maybe yes. Yeah, I agree. That I agree. That I agree. Anurag, hope is not a plan. We still have to do it. So after this, I'm having a conversation on ease of doing business. Economic conversations are not high TRP generator, guys, but they do have to have it. 80 hours of prime time programming on business entrepreneurship. If I had done 80 hours on some Bollywood Duck Tamasha, I would have done much better in any sort of metric. It's not easy to do it. And Anurag has been sitting us, for those of you who watch us at 6 o'clock every day on weekdays on NewsX, know we have very serious conversations. There are intense ones and not heated ones. It's not easy to do. But if we can do it somehow and manage, right, I'm sure others can, and then maybe something changes, because amidst all of this, the biggest issue is people don't have trust, Anurag Batra, and it's become a mockery. As a journalist, you think of a pride sometimes, it's become, you're called names and you treat it like a joke. And I have to tell people, both Indians and foreigners, that I don't sit and yell at people. No, I don't behave like this. It's not easy from all sorts of fronts, which requires introspection. Yes, Anurag ji, go ahead.
Let me bring in Sanyukta again into the conversation. Sanyukta, if there was one positive takeaway, I'm always looking at positive takeaways from not so positive incidents. What do you think is the takeaway for advertisers?
A positive takeaway?
Yes. You have to think.
I want to think for a second. I think, Mr. Batra, I think one big thing that, I think someone else has already mentioned this, but I think if this is something that's been recurring and it keeps happening over and over again, and Mr. Rao also mentioned that why aren't advertisers asking tough questions? If you're the one on the side of the table who's actually funding this entire exercise, then why aren't you asking tough questions? I think that's seriously something to ponder about. And the other thing is that I think even if all of this does turn out to be false, I think it's a wake-up call to definitely kind of end this cycle, this never-ending cycle that everybody on all sides of the table has gotten into, and make it so difficult, put such stringent laws into place for this, make it so difficult to kind of rig the data. And I think Mr. Ahuja mentioned that, gaming the system, make it so impossible and make it so detrimental that nobody will dare do it. I think for me, that's the biggest positive, because all said and done, at the end of the day, in a country like ours, TV still remains the largest medium, no matter what the penetration of digital and every other thing that we are all getting into and learning and using on a daily basis. TV still remains the mainstay for all of our budgets and all of our communication pieces. So I think it's very, very important to kind of make it so difficult that nobody will dare game the system anymore. I think that's
whatever you spend on news, television, post this, will it stay constant? Will it increase? Will it decrease? So will you keep your news advertising budgets same?
Sir, again, I would just wait and watch like everybody else's, because again, during the pandemic, news has been the mainstay for everybody's.
Absolutely, because
it is
information, all these channels went up. So clearly news has kept people kind of informed. It has given us hope.
Yes.
And in some cases given us entertainment while we were looking for news.
Absolutely.
But that's another debate. So you're right in saying we'll have to wait and watch. But I think it'll be a positive turning point for the news industry in India. Raji, if you had to, you're a digital evangelist, you now run digital platforms, e-commerce platforms. Do you think the solution is to be able to have this manual intervention in data, take away that, make everything digital?
Well, honestly, in a country like ours, to be taking everything digital may not necessarily be a complete solution, Anurag. But yes, what I necessarily feel which could be a very positive outcome from this specific controversy that could largely emerge is how we're going to fix the pain points. I think there should be some mechanism of a combination of digital and an offline intervention through people meter, where you can judge through mass intervention the qualitative aspect of the content. What has faded away in the industry today in this hustle bustle of TRP ratings and largely taking out preloaded software and go ahead and construct a so-called defined scientific media plan, which is based on GRPs and based on which campaigns are planned. The qualitative aspect, and which you just mentioned about around the television break of a gentleman who was a doyen of planning, Mr. Bose, having passed away, may his soul rest in peace. He made one statement some decades back, that you can't take a qualitative aspect out from the plan. And I think such kind of TRPs have largely become a tool in the hands of not very evolved buyers and planners in the industry, and qualitative aspect have necessarily gone down. If we can bring it back with a combination of digital and offline intervention, there could be a better power to the agencies, clients, and advertisers. And it is this school of education that needs to be propagated so that there is never a dependency on a single currency data point. I think that is critically very, very important, a point raised by Naval, by Chintamani, by Sandeep, by Sanyukta, by you. And I think the industry, it's a wake-up call for us, all of us in the industry. There will come a state of time when clients will start disbelieving on agencies and start disbelieving on data. Imagine if the whole world were to shift to programmatic buying, that has happened in some of the bigger markets in Europe and UK. What would be the state of television then? I think it is for the industry, for the advertising professionals to all put their heads together and come in and be the savior of the television news content platform. Otherwise, I must say, there could be a writing on the wall where any data would always be looked and will everybody be circumspect. I completely endorse Anurag's point of view. It needs to be a combo of a qualitative analysis with some kind of a digital element built into it. That perhaps could be the defining way of reinventing the wheel. Thank you, Anurag. Over to you.
Sandeep, you were wanting to recount a story and make a point. Go ahead, do that. Sandeep, go ahead. You wanted to make a point. I think you would have, Sandeep.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't unmute.
Yeah.
No, I was going to recount an old story of nothing else, but to tell you that, you know, when we talk of foolproof systems and so on and so forth, not very many people would remember, perhaps Chinta would. But in one of those very heated IBF ISA 305 meetings 20 years ago, I got into an argument with the guy who used to run Intam at that time. And in the course of that argument, he challenged me and he said, you know, you choose a market and you try and crack me the list over there and we will shut Intam down. So I said, fine, I mean, if you will shut Intam down, I will give you the list in 1 week. Now let me tell you one thing very simply, you pick any one of these centers anywhere, all you need to do is to have a reasonably well-placed source in the police. And that is what we did actually, you know, tap. It's 20 years ago, so I mean, I'm quite happy to narrate any of these old stories. So in the city that he chose, which happened to be in my home state, I actually got him the Intam list. And for good effect, so that the TAM guy wouldn't feel left out, I gave the TAM guy also his list. So the point I'm trying to make to you is that getting these lists is not terribly difficult for those who have high stakes. And let me, I mean, even at the point of telling you that English news is important, right? At the end of the day, the entire English news pipe is all of 2 or 3% of the entire, you know, viewership, even lesser. It is in fact in 1% decimals and so on and so forth. You see, the big game is not about news, even though I know everybody on this panel is much affected by the news and whatever. The big business is in GEC. I mean, all the crooking and all of the, you know, fixing actually has to happen there. It is only in recent months or whatever, there has been some incentive to rook the news numbers and show that there is a vast difference between one and the other guy. Otherwise, all the monies that are really riding, including client monies, is really on the GC channels. And one good thing I must tell you, it is easier today to hook digital systems with all the chatbots and all of the technology. Getting digital numbers fixed is actually much easier. You want to fix the number of views of your, music video, that is easy to fix also today. We've had enough instances of both things being pointed out in past few weeks. And for those of us who belong to that generation when print was important, we remember going on all these INS funded trips to various geographies to check the number of copies that were actually dropped. And fact of the matter is that you could even fix a physical product like the dropping of copies of newspapers. So it's not something that is peculiar to television. Fact of the matter again, and I want to reiterate this, you can fix the headends, though large number of the viewership is today coming from DTH, but headends can be fixed, and if you fix the headend, all the boxes that are connected to the headend are automatically fixed. So you don't even need to go and fix each individual,
Giving me ideas how to get into broadcasting seems like a very lucrative business, but so thank you for giving me those ideas. But Chinta, you wanted to make a point.
I want to make a couple of points, if I may. One was when Rajiv Singh was talking about you mentioned not very evolved buyers and planners. Sorry, not Rajiv. I think Samyukta, you were saying. Somebody was saying, but not very evolved buyers and planners. Rajiv Singh.
Rajiv said.
Yeah. I want to say not very evolved buyers and planners presenting to not very evolved marketers. Again, any service that is provided will only be as good as the customer demands it. If you pay me for buying cheap, why would I spend? Do you know, I've run media agencies, okay? Do you know that it costs the media agency far more money to do planning than to do buying? If you're not interested in planning but pay me the same commission, why would I spend on planning? Planning skills cost more. Planning data costs more. Why would I bother? So you wanted to get it, don't complain. So my point is that any solution has to begin with advertisers whose money it is.
I want to make one point here, Chinta, if you will allow me. Many years ago we made this suggestion saying take the broadcasters and take the ad agencies out of the measurement system. Let the clients just own the measurement system. If they are paying all the money and they are the ones who are funding it, and the guys who get most affected are the broadcasters and the intermediaries called the ad agencies, don't have them part of the measurement system. Let the measurement system be entirely owned by clients. Since it is their money that is being planned for, it is their money that is being spent, and these are third party, destinations where the money is going. Those, broadcasters whose inventory is being bought should not be part of the measurement system.
And by the way, Sandeep, my friends in the UK have said to me that why are you so excited about this? So what? The broadcasters control the measurement system. They do that everywhere else. They do that in the UK. Why? What's the issue? The issue is back to where I started earlier. We are congenitally incapable of self-regulation. We will game the system. It does not work in India.
I agree with you 100%.
Another point I want to make, Anurag, is this is to Rishabh actually, his concern about, and I can fully appreciate when he says that in the last 12 years I've not been able to use the data to affect my content. You know what? It's not a straightforward analysis. It can be done, but it needs a far more sophisticated analysis. See, yesterday's news is not today's news, okay? Or what happened on this story, reported on this story yesterday is not what you're reporting today. Two channels cover the same news, how do they cover it? There's huge differences. Some years ago, News Track, TAM began doing, I think it's called News Content Track, where they used to actually do a brilliant analysis of news content. And we used to use that. I have used TAM data to great advantage to build the channel's viewership by affecting the content. I've done that. It can be done.
But currently that data is not available as much it was. Possibly.
I'm told the data today is not available in the same granularity as it was then. Yeah, there is that limitation, I can imagine.
We have a limit of time, so I'm closing. Let me bring in Naval and Noor. Naval, we've heard what
There's one more point I want to make,
Yes,
very
sir.
quick point, which is to quote Yuval Noah Harari, or as he said, if you're not paying for content, you are the product. Okay? Because if you're not paying for content, somebody has to pay for the media. Who's paying it? Advertisers. Look at today, the New York Times today gets 60% of a subscription of revenue from subscription, despite the growth of digital. Times of India has gone. It has put a paywall on the digital product. You can't access Times of India for free anymore digitally. Go ahead, do that. Have the guts. Demand money. If you have the content, you'll get the money.
Thank you, Chinta, for such real and incisive points and being provocative, dare I say. Now, is there a way out of this logjam? I mean, we're ending up eroding the credibility of music media, of media agencies, of the rating system. We're even questioning the advertiser. So, what is the positive here? Is there a solution?
Absolutely. I think this entire conversation that has become extremely negative on the news media ecosystem, the ratings currency ecosystem, the advertising ecosystem is in some ways very damaging for the industry, and that's a worrying thing. The last thing we want is advertisers pulling out to such an extent, the big key advertisers who have influence over the news media ecosystem kind of having to relook at their plans to such an extent that news media then needs to appeal to an even larger base of viewers, and we know what happens when you have to go after what we call as the lowest common denominator. So that's a worry. But let me tell you, Anurag, a few positive things that I've seen. They are green shoots, I would call them. It will take time for them to really take hold. And it's not easy in a country like India, which is culturally so heterogeneous and where, as Chinta mentioned, people are not really used to paying for news. I think if you look at this entire campaign about, profit for hate that's been going on globally, there have been global companies that have sat up and taken notice about what kind of content they should be involved in when it comes to digital platforms. I think there are cases in India where advertisers are doing behind door conversations about what should they be funding. Let me give you an example. Today, we ran a story on Exchange for Media incidentally about Rajiv Bajaj of Bajaj Auto saying they've stopped funding advertising on 3 television channels. He's not naturally named them, but presumably some of them are news channels. So I do see some advertisers setting up and taking note of this controversy and behind closed door meeting rooms.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but as in many things on live TV, we've run out of time, and I will have to get on with the evening's programming. This is obviously a larger conversation. I would say a limitless conversation that needs to go on for a long period of time. That it's being had is probably good, but I'm going to leave it on this note for people who are watching this broadcast. You should also think about, why has this become a conversation? Everybody you've just heard, I've told you this is nothing new. It's a known problem, but it's become a conversation because the environment that we are now in is that a public war is okay between broadcast houses. Attacking each other has suddenly become okay, or somehow suddenly started happening. Politics attacking media directly, whether it's a US custom or an adopted Indian custom, has become a global norm. So amid all of this, we are having this conversation that merits a thought also on the larger process, because everybody here has told you this is a known problem. It doesn't have an obvious solution. It might be a genetic solution or a regulatory solution or otherwise. We'll have to find it, and I'm hoping we do. And until then, it's a conversation. Thank you, all of you. It merited it. Anurag ji, for putting this together. Appreciate it.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.